They mistook the CEO and a single dad for a couple, but she never denied it. The rain had just begun to fall when a little girl wrapped her tiny arms around a tired man in a worn-out suit and whispered, "Daddy, please don't cry. We still have each other." At the other end of the grand charity gala, one of the richest CEOs in the city saw the heartbreaking moment and quietly walked toward them. Minutes later, a simple misunderstanding changed 3 lives forever. Everyone at the event believed the elegant CEO and the humble single dad were husband and wife. She heard every assumption, yet she never corrected anyone. That one silent decision would become the beginning of a story no one in that room could have imagined. Before we begin this emotional journey, if you believe kindness can change lives and that everyone deserves a second chance, please like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe to Beyond Kindness. Your support helps us continue bringing heartfelt stories that inspire hope around the world. Daniel Carter had once dreamed of becoming an architect, but life had rewritten every plan he ever made. 5 years earlier, his wife had passed away after a sudden illness, leaving him alone with their newborn daughter, Lily. Overnight, Daniel became both father and mother. Learning how to braid tiny hair before work, pack school lunches, read bedtime stories, and somehow keep smiling even when his own heart felt shattered. Every paycheck disappeared into rent, school fees, groceries, and medical bills. Luxury had become an unfamiliar word, yet Lily never complained. She believed her father was the strongest man in the world simply because he never let her see how exhausted he truly was. Across the city lived Amelia Brooks, the youngest CEO in the history of the Brooks Foundation, a billion-dollar charitable organization built by her late grandfather. Newspapers described her as brilliant, fearless, and successful. Investors admired her intelligence, employees respected her leadership. Yet behind every achievement hid a lonely woman who had sacrificed almost everything for her career. Her parents had died in a car accident when she was only 16, and success had become her way of surviving grief. The company gave her purpose, but not warmth. Every evening she returned to an empty penthouse, where silence greeted her louder than any applause. One autumn evening, the Brooks Foundation hosted its largest annual fundraising gala beside the city's beautiful harbor. Business leaders, celebrities, politicians, and philanthropists gathered under glowing lights to celebrate generosity. Daniel had never imagined attending such an event. A local community center had selected him as one of several parents being honored for overcoming hardship while raising children alone. Borrowing an old suit from a neighbor, he arrived feeling completely out of place. Lily wore a simple blue dress donated by a local church. To Daniel, she looked more beautiful than anyone at the event. Amelia noticed them almost immediately. Unlike most guests chasing photographers and wealthy donors, Daniel spent the evening making sure Lily felt comfortable. He carried her tired little feet after she became sleepy, wiped chocolate from her cheeks, and laughed whenever she giggled. There was something quietly extraordinary about the way he loved his daughter. Amelia found herself watching from across the room, wondering how someone with so little could give so much. As dinner ended, the event organizer hurriedly introduced Amelia to Daniel, hoping they would pose together for a few promotional photographs. Lily, nervous around strangers, instinctively reached for Amelia's hand because she reminded her of the gentle teachers at school. Amelia smiled warmly and held her hand without hesitation. Photographers captured the touching moment. Then someone nearby asked with a cheerful smile what Amelia's husband did for a living. Before Daniel could explain, another guest laughed and said they looked like the happiest couple at the gala. Cameras flashed even faster. Everyone naturally assumed they were a family. Daniel immediately looked embarrassed, ready to explain the misunderstanding, but Amelia simply smiled politely and remained silent. She wasn't pretending, she wasn't lying. She just couldn't bring herself to interrupt the beautiful moment Lily was experiencing. For the first time in years, the little girl looked as though she belonged in a complete family. That brief happiness seemed too precious to destroy with awkward explanations. The misunderstanding spread through the evening. Guests complimented their beautiful family. Reporters snapped photographs. Social media filled with headlines, speculating about the mysterious man beside the famous CEO. Amelia still said nothing. The following morning, the photographs appeared everywhere. Daniel panicked, fearing the attention would damage Amelia's reputation and perhaps even cost him his modest job at a construction company. He traveled to the Brooks Foundation headquarters determined to apologize personally. Instead of anger, Amelia welcomed him with kindness. She admitted the misunderstanding had surprised her as much as it had surprised him. Yet something unexpected had happened after the gala. Thousands of people had donated to the foundation after seeing what they believed was a touching family devoted to charity. More importantly, Amelia confessed that meeting Daniel and Lily had reminded her why the foundation existed in the first place. Not for publicity or prestige, but for people. She invited Daniel to help redesign several neglected community centers that the foundation planned to renovate. Though uncertain, Daniel accepted. It was the first opportunity in years to use the architectural talent he had buried beneath survival. Working together changed both of them. Daniel discovered that Amelia wasn't the intimidating billionaire portrayed by magazines. She visited construction sites personally, remembered workers' names, and listened more than she spoke. Amelia discovered Daniel possessed remarkable creativity despite years without professional opportunities. His designs focused not on expensive materials, but on making spaces welcoming for struggling families. Lily became the brightest part of every project. She colored sketches, planted flowers outside community centers, and somehow convinced every employee to smile. Even security guards began keeping crayons and cookies ready whenever she visited. Months passed, and whispers about their supposed relationship gradually disappeared. Yet something much deeper quietly replaced the misunderstanding. They became true friends. Amelia laughed more than she had in years. Daniel slowly stopped carrying the constant weight of loneliness. Neither rushed toward romance. They simply discovered comfort in each other's presence. Then disaster struck. A powerful investor demanded that Amelia close several community projects because they generated no financial return. Board members pressured her to protect profits instead of helping neighborhoods. Newspapers criticized her leadership. Some executives secretly blamed Daniel, claiming the CEO had become too emotionally involved with charitable work. To protect Amelia's reputation, Daniel prepared his resignation. He believed leaving would silence the criticism. But when Amelia read the letter, she realized she was about to lose not only her most talented partner, but also the family she had accidentally found. At the next board meeting, Amelia presented photographs, financial reports, and hundreds of handwritten letters from families whose lives had changed because of the renovated centers. Crime had dropped. School attendance had improved. Homeless parents had found jobs. Children finally had safe places to learn and play. She ended her presentation with one unforgettable truth. Businesses could always earn more money, but a child's lost future could never be repurchased. Her grandfather had built the foundation to serve humanity, not shareholders alone. If protecting kindness cost her position as CEO, she was willing to accept that price. Silence filled the room, one by one. Board members lowered their eyes. They realized she wasn't defending a business strategy. She was defending compassion itself. The investor withdrew his objections after seeing overwhelming public support. The projects continued, and Daniel remained as the foundation's lead designer. Several weeks later, another charity gala was held at the same harbor, where everything had begun. This time, No one assumed anything. They simply watched as Daniel, Lily, and Amelia stood together, welcoming hundreds of families whose lives had been transformed. Near the end of the evening, Lily slipped her small hand into Amelia's and smiled the same innocent smile she had worn months before. There was no misunderstanding anymore. Love had quietly grown through respect, sacrifice, patience, and countless acts of kindness. Sometimes the strongest families are not created in a single moment.